you see this car battery over here, and you can see there are jumper cables attached to it. And let's say Alex decides to use those jumper cables. That's me, by the way. I'm hanging from the ceiling. Let's say he decides to attach them to my nipples and electrocute me for about 23 years straight. Well, that's not technically torture. And that's not torture either. Actually, none of this is torture.
No. Come on. Oh, come on, bro!
That gets so scary so quickly.
Now, yes, it may look like we're torturing each other, but it's not torture. It's just a whole other thing, and it's called enhanced interrogation. You know, if it was torture, that means it's illegal, and the US government doesn't do illegal stuff. No, this is different. This is the US program of enhanced interrogation, and it's actually completely fine. And I know what you're thinking. It's just a legal loophole to justify torture, and there's no way George Bush was smart enough to come up with it himself back in 2001. And if you thought that, then you'd be correct, right? Because the US wasn't the first to do it. He didn't even come up with the term himself. Like, the first use of enhanced interrogation was back in 1942 when it was called whatever the hell this is. And as you can guess by how stupid and unreadable it is, it's the Nazis' torture policy. It literally translates to enhanced interrogation. And I'm not exaggerating here. You know, I'm not claiming the US is the same as Nazi Germany, because, you know, they're very different societies, but their torture policy is identical. It's completely plagiarized. Now, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I don't really like the Nazis. You know, I actually thought they were evil, right? And the uniqueness of their evil was that it was very systematic and bureaucratic. They were very focused on documentation and protocol and following the rule of law, you know, as long as that law was carefully reworded to allow them to persecute their enemies. Now, at that point in history, these guys believed they were on the cusp of ruling the world, and they wanted to just...
Guys, I'm starting to think hiring Nazi generals in NATO was a bad idea. Why would you say that? Wow, you must love Adolf Hitler for saying such things.
Justify all their brutality by presenting it as an enlightened, legal, and sensible policy with, you know, strict guidelines and ethical considerations, because, you know, they wanted the future population of Germany and the world to understand that they were the sensible good guys. But yeah, they lost the war, and we did the right thing, which was, you know, we put them on trial and we hung them for war crimes. And the whole world agreed that no one should do that stuff. But fast forward 50 years, the US won the Cold War, and at that point, they quite plausibly could rule the entire world, which a lot of people weren't very happy about. So the US found themselves in the same position, trying to resurrect a nice, sensible, legal justification for torture. So they just plagiarized the Nazis. Now, just like the Nazi base game, the US expansion...
Fire up the Iowa bag and celebrate Kaya's birthday out back. It's literally raining. It hasn't stopped raining in Los Angeles, and it's also dark. Why the fuck would I do that?
Pack involved meticulous documentation. In the waterboarding manuals, where people are taught how to simulate drowning and repeatedly bring people to the brink of death, the platform had to be tilted at exactly 10 to 15 degrees. They had to pour the water from a specific height in specific increments. They had to have doctors present to measure the victim's blood oxygen levels and to perform emergency tracheotomies in case their windpipe started involuntarily spasming. And it's all done in order to make sure that the victim didn't die. So the drowning could be repeated like again and again and again, just on the same person forever. And, you know, if you don't follow the strict protocols and, you know, file all the paperwork, then you're doing illegal torture. But if you follow the guidelines, you're doing ethical, sensible, enhanced interrogation. But there were a few differences between the policies. Unlike the US government, the Nazis initially didn't include waterboarding in their enhanced interrogation policy because it was too brutal to be legally justified, which they eventually amended to allow any kind of torture. But in order to not get caught out plagiarizing Hitler's work, the US also changed the acceptable targets of enhanced interrogation policy. You know, the Nazis were quite specific, saying you can only use it against certain targets like communists, Marxists, and also asocial persons, or whatever that means, any Polish or Russian person who committed the crime of being lazy. The US streamlined this policy and just kept the word terrorists, which, as we'll learn by the end of this video, doesn't actually mean anything. It can be anyone. But Bush went another step further, and what made his rendition of Nazi torture practices even more extraordinary was his policy of extraordinary rendition. This is where the US could take their victims to secret CIA black sites all around the world to torture them outside of the reach of US law because, you know, it's not illegal if you do it in a place where there's no law. Now, it wasn't that hard for the CIA to sell their Nazi torture DLC to the American people, and it's all thanks to a ragtag team of amateur pilots.
A plane has crashed into the World Trade Center in New York.
This event shook the US. Up until 2001, the global order was pretty straightforward. The US was allowed to blow up as many buildings in the third world.
The insane video from India. Have you guys ever seen that one where the plane is so stupid?
As they liked, and in return, the local inhabitants were given a fresh opportunity to renovate and redecorate their boring old cities. But they didn't seem to appreciate the offer so much because they always just rebuilt the cities in exactly the same old boring way. But on September 11, this deal was broken when the World Trade Center was attacked, and the US public was ready to embrace a new, radical kind of punishment that was somehow even worse than what they usually did, which is, bombing the shit out of people. Initially, the media reaction was one of shocked silence. No one wanted to accept that this could happen, and they didn't even want to think about it. Disney was ready to release Lilo and Stitch at the time, but had to frantically edit it at the last minute to change the scene where Stitch hijacked a passenger plane and flew it through skyscrapers. But soon enough, American media embraced it, and things got really, really aggressive. Eventually, songs started celebrating the military. From video games to movies and television shows, everyone was celebrating patriotism. Everyone was excited to punish any and all enemies of the USA. The post-9/11 media storm was so powerful that when it came time for the Supreme Court to debate the validity of these new torture laws, the Chief Justice, Anthony Scalia,
He did one of my favorite quotes in constitutional law of all time.
Powerful American lawmakers based his ruling on the lead character from the fictional anti-terrorism TV series 24.
So that's why I always say America has, one, been bad, and two, has always been a fucking clown show. Okay? This is when the Republican Party was the sane Republican Party. This is the type of shit that liberals want to go back to when they say, Donald Trump ruined the Republican Party. What? How come Jews weren't on that list /Jen? What are you... I don't know what the fuck you're asking about, dude. I genuinely don't know what you're saying. What list? What is... Why are you spamming this question? The advanced interrogation Nazi targets? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't. I don't know. No, not just spamming. Thought you didn't see? I did not. I don't know what this question is about.
So here's what he said to his fellow judges. He said, Jack Bauer saved Los Angeles. He saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Now, he's talking about season 2, episode 12, where the main character, Jack Bauer, is torturing some Arab guy and through that manages to save California from a nuclear attack.
You screwed up, Ollie.
Are you going to convict Jack Bauer? Say that criminal law is against him and you have the right to a jury trial. Is any jury going to convict Jack Bauer? I don't think so. That's what he said, right? He's just an imbecile. It's like arguing that we should abolish air traffic control laws because we don't want to impede Superman's ability.
One of the most tragic comedy moments of American foreign policy and American cruelty is that, and I know this video is eventually going to arrive at this conclusion as well, is that torture or enhanced interrogation, whatever you want to call it, actually yielded zero actionable intelligence. Zero. So ironically, using fucking Jack Bauer and television shows as a justification for why we should do torture was pretty apt, because torture only works in movies. Torture doesn't work in the real world. You want to know why? Because when you get fucking tortured, you just lie to stop the torture. That's it. That is precisely the reason why it yielded zero actionable intelligence. None. Nada. Zilch.
To, punch a meteor that's about to destroy the planet. But it worked. Thanks to people who think Jack Bauer is a real person, there was now legal cover for this brutal CIA torture program. Now, the only issue left, and I don't mean to get nitpicky here, the only other issue is that torture doesn't actually work. The Pentagon knew it didn't work as early as 2002. There are multiple leaked classified reports that show
I pre-watched.
that not a single piece of usable information was ever gleaned from the countless people they tortured over the decades. You see, when you torture someone, they'll just admit to anything you accuse them of, right?
I didn't pre-watch. I lived through this history and was actively following it as a fucking child.
That's just how it works, right? If you ask me, you ask me where the cookies are, and I don't know where the cookies are, and if you start torturing me, I'll just tell you a random location so you stop torturing me because, I feel like I'm going to die. But literally the only use of torture is to just...
Yeah, if you pointed that out during Bush years, liberals like Ethan will call you a terrorist supporter.
Viciously brutalize another human being. But I mean, it's also useful as a gimmick for a YouTube video. It's really good for that. But nonetheless, the US managed to legalize torture, which is a big deal until you realize the US has been waterboarding people forever, long before it was legal. Here's them doing it back in Vietnam. But thankfully, the US government had learned a lot since Vietnam. And the two main takeaways are, one, call it something else, and two, don't let anyone see it. If the average person sees their tax dollars going towards, burning children alive, then chances are they're going to, stop cutting their hair for some reason, and you're not going to be able to do your war anymore. So the US brought in something called embedded journalism. The only way you could actually report on the ground in the US's war on terror is if you were...
By the way, Israel does this as well. Just pointing that out.
Embedded in the military and reported exactly what they wanted you to report. All the stories that came out were about the kinds of food the soldiers ate and how much the locals loved them. You couldn't even show pictures of damaged US vehicles or the army would expel you. They became journalists in the same way that this guy is a journalist reporting on McDonald's. The news coverage was so bad that George Bush got away with announcing mission accomplished 2 decades before the end of the war that killed 4 million people. And the American public didn't have a proper grasp of what was actually going on there. Now, the only way the public actually found out about the torture camps is through independent journalists who risked their lives by just going to war zones by themselves. We wouldn't have known any of this if it wasn't for people like Olivia Rousset and Seymour Hersh and... these independent journalists, I reckon they're just kind of like us, like YouTubers. They're these guys inspirational and they're much braver than us, but also probably we're just as brave in a way. We're independent and we're not corruptible. No one can. This video was sponsored by MyHeritage. Discover your family history with a DNA test. I think I'm going to be the most boring person.
Christ.
No one's ever come to the Balkans and been like, I want to mix my gene pool with these guys. I feel like we're just 100% pure cabbage farmer.
Let's go.
Is this where he finds out that he's actually Turkic?
60 seconds.
Which sheik are you doing?
I'm not telling you.
You're like,
And there we go. And then we'll have our results very soon.
oh no.
Alexa's ethnicity. Ready to explore.
I'm scared. Alexa, you are only 60% Balkan.
Wow.
Where's the rest of me? How does that make sense?
You're like a half man.
Greek and Albanian. 27% Albanian.
Albania!
Yes!
Oh, Boże moi.
You're Albanian. That's great news.
That changes everything. Who's my relative? Slavic
Third cousin.
from Croatia. Jana Milica, Natasha. It's crazy to have all this information about ourselves, but I guess the nice thing about MyHeritage is that they're committed in its privacy policy to never sell our data. Now you can do this too. MyHeritage has a promotion going on right now with a 30-day free trial. Click the link in the description box or scan the QR code and don't forget to put in the coupon for free shipping. So go get your DNA results right now. And you can trust me, I'm Albanian. So before we commit to torturing ourselves, we wanted to hear from someone who actually went through CIA torture. And conveniently, the US's torture program spans the entire globe, so we didn't have to go very far. One of the many innocent victims is our neighbour, Mamdouh Habib. Now, before we get into the next few interviews with detainees and witnesses, I need to warn you that the kind of abuse that's described is going to be like far worse than anything you could ever imagine. Like I feel like I wasn't prepared for it, and I don't know, it kind of fucked me up. Like there's no shame in just exiting the video if you're not up for watching stuff like that. Or actually, what's better is if you just like leave the room for about 10 and a half minutes, but like keep the video going for like retention and stuff, the analytics, and then come back and the scary part will be over. But if you want to hear about it, yeah, we'll do it now. Mamdouh went on a trip to Pakistan in September of 2001, which at the time wasn't the worst place to go. The weather's pretty mild. It's the start of autumn, so it's ideal for outdoor activities. You can trek the entire Hunza Valley without breaking a sweat. The downside is that he quickly found himself stranded in the Middle East when September 11th happened. And as it turns out, the US was suddenly paying lots of money for anyone who could bring them a terrorist to interrogate. So everyone from petty thugs all the way up to the Pakistani military were rounding up foreigners and trying to cash in on America's sudden spending spree. And the crazy part is that the Pakistani intelligence agencies were funding Al-Qaeda.
Just good guy shit, by the way. Like, I just want to say, this is why, one, obviously I love Boy Boy and I Did a Thing. Those are my homies. But this is why I also always say blowback is like very complimentary to the things that I talk about on a daily basis. Okay? This is the why America is bad side of the America bad side. And for the record, for the longest time, this stuff wasn't a secret. Like, we knew about all this shit while it was happening. And if you fucking said anything about it, you were called, drumroll please, a fucking terrorist, a terror lover, a lover of terrorism, Mr. Terrorism. Oh, are you sympathizing with Al-Qaeda, you fucking Al-Qaeda lover? You don't want to invade Iraq? You don't want to invade Iraq? You must want to suck and fuck Saddam, you Baathist piece of shit. You're either with us or you ain't. You're against us. Okay, and that's why I'm so fucking used to it from dipshits like Ethan Klein now, okay? Because the past 20 plus fucking years of living on U.S. soil and actively visiting the United States of America and getting called a fucking terrorist all the goddamn time has hardened both myself and numerous other people from that side of the world to this kind of shit. Come on, dude. Hogs don't know what the word Baathist is? I mean, okay, whatever. It's also Baath with 2 A's, not with an O. It's also crazy that, like, it's also fucking crazy that so many fucking people just entertain this shit and then they sleep comfortably at night, not realizing how fucking harmful and how dehumanizing the shit that they're saying is. Like, it's crazy, especially like dumbass people who consider themselves to be progressive. See? If America has been bad, and whoa, don't ban that guy. This guy's funny. If America has been bad and a fucking clown show, then get the fuck out of Hassan and take your dick-eating Uncle Jank with you. Or better yet, someone should just shoot you in the fucking head. Someone should shoot you in the fucking head. One day, one of these freaks is probably going to fucking try to kill me. Eventually, it'll happen, okay? What are you going to fucking do? Another 2014 account, site-wide banned. I love this guy being like, America's number one because it's a freedom, because it presents freedom and prosperity. Also, if you speak out against it for doing a metric ton of fucking war crimes, I hope someone kills you in the head is an insane thing to say. Also, Dude, I'm apolitical. What the fuck? And it's like the shit that I criticize America on is the untold amounts of violence that they subject the rest of the world to. And the cost of that violence is directly taken out of the pockets of these fucking dumb mouth breathers who don't understand that they're being fucking lied to. Like your enemy is some goddamn goat herder in the fucking mountains of Afghanistan. Okay? And that's the reason why your roads have potholes. That's the fucking reason why you will never get health care. And you dumb bitches cannot fucking comprehend this. Why are people so angry? It's so unfair and rude, but I can repeat you have a place in Europe. I don't know where the fuck I would go in Europe. Let's be real. Also, he was so angry that he just said 1 and then didn't even come out with a 2. Okay? He literally typed 1. America has won, been bad in a fucking cloud show, then get the fuck out, take your ticket, someone should just shoot you in the fucking head. Like, he got so horny. Immediately fucking account suspended and deactivated. He couldn't even come up with a second thing. He was just like, you said America bad. I think someone should shoot you in the head is not, you know, this is what being apolitical gets you, chat. I'm once again being attacked for... I'm once again being attacked for having apolitical takes. It is kind of wild. I feel like people maybe are a little too normalized about like death threats. I don't know. Maybe people are too. Maybe people, or when I say people, I mean myself. Like maybe I've just gotten too used to the death threats. Like it just, I'm trying to be apolitical, man.
Osama bin Laden's compound was barely 700 meters away from their military academy. Now they knew exactly where the big boys were, but they weren't going to give up those guys because they liked those guys, right? But they were cashing in and selling random people to the Americans who wanted to show that they were punishing terrorists. And Mamdouh found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he needed to get the hell out of Pakistan.
So I called my wife, and I told her I'm on the way to Australia. I did my booking, I was ready to go, and I was in the bus. It was very dark, like a night time. Then the Pakistani official go in the bus. Then I went with them down off the bus, clashing on the top of our heads. They put us in the bag. Van, go. That's it. That's what happened.
What did you think was going on in that moment?
I have no idea actually, but I was thinking these people is not gonna do anything to me because I haven't done anything wrong. I'm very confident, and I'm Australian citizen. I have Australian passport. These people is not gonna play a game with Australia.
Now, his Australian citizenship didn't get him very far. At one point, he realised Australian officials were present while the Pakistanis were torturing him, and he tried pleading with them.
I'm Australian citizen, I should go home. I've been kidnapping. Say, we're not gonna do anything for you because America is control.
That's what the ambassador in Pakistan
This
said.
is Australian ambassador, I'll try them.
Yeah, wow. Oh my God.
I never forgot this day.
Now, one of the bizarre but weirdly relevant quirks of Mamdouh's life is his passion for Chinese medicine. And if you spend any time with him at all, he'll tell you about the holy trinity of Qigong.
I told you I'm do Chinese massage and acupuncture, Tai Chi, and Kung Fu trainer, because these three is together.
Now, this may seem really cute and irrelevant, but not to the CIA, right? If you look at their leaked internal documents, that's exactly the reason the Pakistanis sold him to the US. Under torture, they made him confess that he trained the 9/11 hijackers on how to take over a plane with the power of Kung Fu.
They accuse me I train people for pilot because I'm experienced with Kung Fu.
That's crazy, I can't.
It's not crazy, they get anything.
And that was it. Mamdouh was now in the hands of the CIA, and every single day they put him through things that I could barely comprehend.
Put me electric shock in my ear, on my groin. And they put that electric shock in my groin, even spin my groin. Yeah, and they put it here in my ear, and I start my ear get bleed, and my nose blood come out, and I got unconscious.
He went through everything from waterboarding to sleep deprivation to forced anal penetration every day for 4 years. But regardless of all the things they did to him physically, he says the worst torture was psychological.
What they do in the head, he can't control it. They say they give you injection to make you really relax, you like you empty. He can't say, how I'm here, who's these people? Is that true? Is that not true? You don't know nothing. Then they make him film about my wife and my kids. They've been killed, they've been tortured, and they talking, they ask dad, come help, and you don't help us. You say all this in front of you. No one can be strong because the injection drop you. Because they make you like nothing. You empty brain, fully empty.
Now, there were lots of Guantanamo captives who, they endured the same brutality, but some of them weren't as resilient, and they completely lost their minds.
I have people, they doesn't know the names. They forgot the names. He lost his memory completely. He doesn't know who is he. He's completely gone. They keep doing this to me, I don't know how long, to be honest. Until today, I can't.
Fun fact, the Democrat who gave the response to the State of the Union last night worked for the organization that literally fucked with this guy's head daily. Yes. Her name is Elisa Slotkin, and she was a part of the terror cell, also known as the CIA.
And even remember, I tried to remember, but
not a fun fact.
This memory doesn't want to come back to me. It's hard. It was really... they're not human.
And the way racism works is that, like, people will legitimately look to this dude and still be like, yeah, he probably deserved it because he's a terrorist. Why is he like that? Why do people feel that way? Because he's brown and he has an accent. That's it. It's that simple, okay? Same exact shit happening to Palestinians. Same exact shit. He didn't do anything. His crime was just being Pakistani and Australian at the same time. This is something that I've talked about before. Especially about like how your American passport is very valuable, but there is a secret ranking if you are a dual citizen, or there's a secret ranking of like how valuable it is. And Palestinians, for example, are at the fucking bottom of that, okay? If you're brown, if you're Muslim, you're lower on the ranks.
These people are not human. I don't think these people, the human to them is nothing.
There was no end in sight. Mamdouh was being brutalized in a bureaucratic catch-22. Like, he's an innocent man, but he's forced to admit to whatever his torturers come up with just to justify them torturing him.
I keep telling him, if whatever you tell me, I will cooperate, but at the end of the story, I'm telling you lie. Because I haven't done anything wrong, but under torture, I will tell you anything you wanna listen, you wanna hear it.
All this time he was being tortured, he was also being shipped to CIA black sites all around the world, from Egypt to Pakistan to Afghanistan, and finally to Guantanamo Bay. And the whole time you thought maybe they were sending you back to Australia?
Every time they tell me that. But no, I wasn't trusting. I know myself not trust these people because they lie from the first day. And they not gonna release me because they done crime.
Yeah.
When people done crime, they're scared to face the issue. And they try to get rid of the evidence. And that's arm evidence.
So Mamdouh was just stuck there, like indefinitely, and he accepted that his family was dead and eventually he would die in Guantanamo. But Obviously, if you're really clever and you've been paying attention to the video, you can spot me right there interviewing him right now. So you can infer that he was eventually released. But at that time, no one knew what was going on until a handful of brave independent journalists got the truth out. So I decided to speak with Olivia Rousset, who was one of the many independent journalists who took it on themselves to sneak into the war zone and cover the stories that weren't being told. How did you decide to go to Iraq by yourself?
I think when you're embedded, you get to tell a particular story, and that's inevitably through the perspective of the military. When I went, I wanted to tell stories about the Iraqis and about the way the Iraqis have been impacted by the invasion, and the only way to do that is to go to the Iraqis. It's pretty common sense.
I don't know, I feel like it's pretty hectic to go to a war zone without anyone.
I was probably naive, but I was also young, and I kind of knew when I went there that I might die. So I wrote a will on a Word doc saying who could have my CD.
Yeah, I was just like, what are you really distributing?
I was in a share house.
Yeah.
It was like, this person can have my CDs, this person can have my clothes, and whatever money I have, my boyfriend and my sister can split.
Wow.
I had a satellite phone, and I had $10,000 cash in the soles of my shoes because there was no money. There were no banks. I had US money stuck in, hidden in sanitary pads and under the soles of my shoes, so I could get by for a couple of months in Iraq.
I'm scared whenever I take out money from an ATM. I'm scared just walking around Sydney. I hate having money on me. I can't imagine.
People were kind to me and taking care of me. I certainly didn't feel at risk from any Iraqis.
Yeah.
I felt most at risk when I was travelling with American soldiers.
Olivia managed to shine a light on the plight of the Iraqi people, but after a few years in the Middle East, she stumbled upon a trove of leaked images from soldiers' personal cameras, and she published them in the second tranche of leaks that made America's torture camp at Abu Ghraib infamous.
The whole disc was 8 gig. They're small photos back in that day, but there are 16,918 items.
I was prepared for how horrendous this mountain of torture footage was, and the fact that there were American soldiers posing and smiling with these mutilated corpses made it even harder to comprehend. Holy shit.
This is Munadel al-Jamali. He was killed under CIA interrogation.
They're so chill about it.
I guess it was so normalised, right? This guy was known as called Shit Boy, I was told. He had a mental illness and used to cover him in his own shit. I don't know what that is. Someone being forced to sodomise themselves with what looks like a banana. Who knows what it is? So that was him when they were...
Israel does all of this and more every single day to Palestinians. If you're wondering why the American government doesn't say anything about it, you know why.
Tormenting him with the dogs, and then you see the wound from the dog afterwards on his leg.
Since torture was now allowed and even promoted, some of the soldiers obviously added their own flair and took on some extracurricular torture of their own.
So these are men being forced to masturbate for the camera. And it's just, there's no, it's just for their entertainment, right?
These images were satanic. The gratuitous, explicit brutality was one thing, but the thing that made it even more horrific was how mundane and normalized it all was. In between all the photos that the soldiers took of the torture, they had photos that appeared to be just regular tourism shots. You don't know if you'll come across a video of them playing with a kitten or cutting some dude's fingers off. The terror that was permitted by the US government just became a normal, mundane part of these people's lives. They were creating psychopaths. I'm just waiting for them to do something to the cat. I can't. This morbid slideshow of abused and mutilated Iraqis felt like it could go on forever. Eventually, I had to call it quits.
5. Tell me to stop anytime.
Yeah, I'm struggling.
Yeah, I won't go on.
That is horrible.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Now, after the photos were released, the Red Cross launched an investigation and concluded that up to 90% of the victims at Abu Ghraib were innocent. Just random people kidnapped by US forces. Wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think all of Iraq was the wrong place at the wrong time once the Americans came in.
At the end of the day, the sheer volume of just documented evidence from just this one camp and the kind of mundane nature of all of it, it kind of showed that these guys weren't doing something out of the ordinary. right? It was a coordinated, systematic practice that exists because of the US's new torture policy.
And, you know, what don't we see? This is the soldiers themselves taking these.
There's so many different prisons and black sites around the world that haven't had this.
And after this, they're not going to be letting people have cameras, are they?
Yeah. Another depressing aspect of this story is the level of discipline Western journalists had. When these shocking photos and videos were leaked to Olivia, she started investigating herself. And she found out that a lot of big US news organizations had been leaked these photos too, but they were...
Who's paying for / pay for these crimes is so inhumane? What do you mean? We did. With our taxes. We paid their salaries. We pay for the bombs. We pay for the research and development to create new torture techniques. You did. You and I both.
Were too scared to release them.
A lot of major news organisations in the US had the whole disc and chose not to release them. And at the time there was outrage at this shitty little program in Australia. One woman travelling around the world with a little, handycam had got the disc and released it. And there was a lot of disdain for who is this tin pot organisation anyway. And I think it just took someone being outside the bubble to go, why this is important. This is huge and this is important. And it sort of shows, I think, how journalists unknowingly or deliberately self-censor because of the fear of the repercussions.
Thanks to these brave, independent journalists like Olivia, the truth, started to get out. Although, that being said, their success was, partially due to the fact that they were white Westerners, Like, if you're a Muslim journalist and, the US Army doesn't like what you're reporting, they'll probably end up blowing you up with an Apache helicopter, like what happened to these Reuters journalists. Or you'll end up sharing a cell next to Mamdouh in Guantanamo, like what happened to Al Jazeera cameraman Sami al-Hajj, who was also sold to the Americans by the Pakistanis. But none of these leaked photos had any immediate effect on the US government. They responded by threatening to detain anyone who leaked CIA torture photos, and then they just immediately went back to doing torture. But public pressure did start mounting, which did mean that there was much more attention on prisoners like Mamdouh. Lawyers started getting involved and the legal process was really convoluted. It took a really long time, but eventually Mamdouh was released back to Australia and reunited with his family with not a single charge. Like many, he was a completely innocent man who was secretly tortured for 4 years by the CIA. Now, Mamdouh claimed that Australian government officials were present while he was being tortured, which is huge, right? And now that he's back in Australia, he decided to take action against government for their complicity. For 6 years, the government just kept denying his claims, and they even started arguing that he was never even tortured in the first place, until video footage and photographs were leaked from the Egyptian government, which proved Australian staff attended many times while he was being tortured at an Egyptian black site. So the government immediately settled the case out of court to shut him up. And I guess that's the happiest ending you're going to get out of all this. Okay, now you're about to watch us test out these torture techniques on each other, but realistically, there's absolutely no reason for us to be doing that. Like, it was brutal and it was horrible, but what we experienced is incomparable to what these people actually went through. Like, it's a joke, and even claiming that we're doing it is just insensitive and stupid. But that,
ironically enough, the only one that was like as devastating, it still wasn't as devastating, obviously, because like it was done under a controlled environment, and I stopped immediately, was the waterboarding one. And the irony is they couldn't even put that in the fucking original video because it was literally torture.
That being said, this is YouTube, and if you want an audience to sit through a history lesson about CIA torture, you're going to have to do a gimmick like this, and you need to have a thumbnail with losers like us soy-facing and torturing ourselves for views. So here you go. Here's the interrogation. Now, we filmed this torture scene last year. We patiently waited for Hasan to visit Australia because we knew there are probably millions of people around the world who want to torture this man themselves. But Alex graciously offered to go first, and he's getting waterboarded today. So we followed the CIA manuals precisely. I even built this platform out of an old door to the CIA's specific torture specifications. Now, the first step was to attach this heart monitor to him, and then it was time to get started. You lost 3 calories just talking about this. The only difference with our setup is that we have a kill switch when it gets too brutal. Alex is holding an object in his hand, and as soon as he drops it, we stop the interrogation.
Someone has to watch this up. Don't just keep doing it to me. It's meant to be like big things to control. What do you mean? Like, the point of it is like you need to do.
The glasses guy is gigantic. dog, that's me. You're joking, right?
Active like effort to hold it so that as like a dead man's switch gets dropped. Whereas like that's very small. You can just easily hold that in your hand. Yeah, I can hold that without like
I do a VP. Hold it. Hold a bloody VP.
hold it.
So what the CIA does is they put them down, they put the top over them, and they wait for them to exhale, and they start pouring. We're not going to be that brutal. But
What the fuck? Yo, this is
torture.
guys. This torture stuff is not great. Okay, I just want to say I'm kind of off on the torture thing now. I'm off the torture train officially.
You don't condone torture?
Yeah, I didn't at first. Enhanced interrogation.
Yeah,
That's what it's called. It's not
technically,
torture.
15 degrees is enhanced interrogation. If we went any further, then I think like
This is constitutionally approved. Remember, this is constitutionally
How do you feel?
approved torture.
I don't like this already.
they're not even drowning yet.
Yeah.
To be honest,
I mean, sure, why not?
it's okay, Alex.
Is this gonna get like us arrested when we accidentally kill him?
Yeah, it's the one scary thing about,
it's
I mean,
not
lots
a
of scary
defense
things about waterboarding, but you start choking, and then your esophagus might start spasming, and then you can't breathe even if you're not choking. That's the scary thing. But like, that's why the CIA has trained professionals when they do it.
What do you mean? What?
Like, even if water's not going down, the reaction you get to it can just continue autonomously.
Well, but he'll be fine afterwards when the water
I
stops.
don't know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know these things.
And now I kind of don't want to be the one putting the water and killing him.
This is the worst one.
Yeah, 100%.
I owe you. Now, look, this is incredibly dangerous, and jokes aside, we do have an actual trained medical professional supervising, which makes it safer, but nevertheless, it's so horrific that it obviously won't work with YouTube's community guidelines, so we can't show it here. But if you go to our Patreon, in the video description, maybe you'll get to see the full video of, uncut video of Alex's interrogation. It's worth a try.
I'm so sorry, man. I thought there'd be some chance you could breathe. You can't breathe at all.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. It was awful. Obviously, it was much more awful for Alex, but even like I truly do not understand how the fucking CIA people did that shit. Okay? I do not understand how anyone can do that. Like, you have to be genuinely a fucking demon to be able to do that to another human being, okay? Like, actually, to be able to do that and go to sleep at night is crazy. I did it for a brief moment and it fucked me up.
Oh my god, I feel so bad.
What have you done?
I'm sorry.
Holy shit.
I don't know.
From like,
You feel like you were drowning?
Yeah, well, you just can't. I thought if I blow out, I could blow the fabric off, so I could get air in. But as soon as you do it, water just comes straight into your. Yeah, and it goes straight down your nose, and you can't stop it from going down your nose. So you feel it trickling down the back of your throat. That is horrible. Holy
shit.
That is. Yeah. Well, I just realised I couldn't do. Like, I just can't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit, was the lens
No. I'm gonna go again.
That gets so scary so quickly.
And also the
That is
people that are doing it to you
disgusting.
aren't your friends.
That is really fucked up. Like, how are you like a normal person after doing that to a human being for an extended period of time?
Imagine doing it as well while the person is
Like,
shaking.
try like they're tied down.
Like, my goal was to like stop as soon as you were like, as soon as you dropped the bottle. So I was like, you know what I mean? Imagine there's no bottle.
Yeah,
And you just keep doing it.
Yeah, there is no stop.
Wait, I don't understand how you could survive doing that.
That's
What was my heart?
You doubled it in like a second. You went from 50 to 100. So this is him normally, and that's when he starts around. Now it's Hassan's turn to strap on the heart monitor, but the spooky part for him is that he had no idea what we're going to do to it.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Should we tell him?
I feel like
It's kind of crazy how much fatter I was back then.
torturee learns about what the torture is before.
No, not this one.
What?
The CIA engages in consent. They're just like, so by the way, just so you know.
Well, okay, give us what you think it might be.
I have no fucking idea. Like maybe he just like hit me or something while I'm sitting in the chair.
Beating.
Yeah.
It's a beating is what it is.
That's what I think it is going to be. I don't know. I have no idea.
Alex is pretty strong. And also
no, I
Alexa
know.
trains in boxing, so
I
it's
know.
like, you know, it's a potential.
Dude, I'm still thinking about the fuck. I could have killed her. That's insane. That is insane that people
did it though.
I know, but like it's insane that
Not a good
people
feeling.
do that to other people on purpose for much longer periods of time than that.
An important part of the enhanced interrogation protocols is to work out your victim's biggest fear and exploit that to torture them. And lucky for us, Hasan is our friend, so we knew exactly what his biggest fear is. While he was busy streaming, I went out and found this big guy in my neighbor's shed.
Okay, so you want me to sit here?
Yeah, just be blindfolded.
All right, no spiders, right?
Yeah.
All right, what the fuck? What? Oh my god! All right, what's happening? Come on, you guys are gonna tell me eventually, right?
You'll see it.
I'll feel it.
You'll see it. You'll experience.
I'll see it. What is my heart rate at?
You're at 108. You're already fucking freaking out.
You're already pumping.
You're worse than Alex when he was drowning. Okay, so for anyone watching at home, this is Hasan's scorcher.
It's kind of angry.
It's angry? What do you mean it's angry? What is it?
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, dude, come on. No! Oh! Bro, what the fuck is that? What is that? Is it poisonous? Is it venomous? Be honest. You said no! You said no to that.
We don't know. We don't actually know.
You don't know!
We just found
What do you mean you don't know? No. Okay, I'll talk. It's fine. It's very good. No. What the fuck? What? Dude, it's so big. No.
Just let the spider decide.
No. Okay. No. Come on. Bro! What if it jumps? Okay.
Hasan called it quits and jumped out of the chair, but luckily, our resident medical professional and seasoned spider catcher, Tate McGregor, was going
That was insane. She just grabbed it. Australians are operating on a different playing field, dude.
to make sure Hasan saw it through to the end.
He's going to run all the way up.
No, he does not want to be anywhere near us.
See, they're cute.
No, you and I have very different opinions on what's cute and what's not.
God, it's jumping.
This is crazy.
Oh my god, it's jumping.
Wait.
What the fuck?
Wait, no!
Okay, no. I'm done. Oh god. Okay, stop. Okay, no more CIA torture. Come on.
It's a bit
He's going to
cozy.
bite you, Dave.
So one guy got waterboarded and you were near a spider, Lamau. Yeah, not everyone's torture was as equivalent. Nothing comes near the waterboarding.
Does he bite?
He bites, but he's not poisonous. It just stings a bit.
Bro, he's gonna drop the camera. I'm gonna throw the camera. No. Come on.
Okay, Hasan just keeps running away, so we released our cute little friend back home to the shed. Now, encountering this guy is pretty normal for Australians, but Hasan's heart rate jumped to 147 beats per minute, which, would be considered a pretty severe panic attack for anyone aged 20 to 30, or a potential heart attack for someone as old as Hasan.
To be fair, I did come off of a plane and a 15-hour journey, so my baseline is already pretty
Well, that's Guantanamo. It's sleep. They do sleep deprivation, then they bring you out and they...
True. I do have sleep deprivation going for me. All right.
Now it's my turn for the final.
Dude, I miss Australia so much, dude. I really, one of these days, I'm just going to fuck off and go out there. I'm not even going to tell them that I'm coming. I'm just going to show up at their doorstep. Come back? Why are there so many Aussies in here right now? We got a cyclone right now, so maybe wait a minute. Australian ambassador. Do you miss Australia or you miss your friends? I miss my friends. I wish they would come here, but they don't come here until it's winter for them and summer for me. Come to Aotearoa too. I've got some sick Pati Maori hookups for you. 2 p.m. with a cyclone about the heat. I know that's New Zealand chatters. I know. We don't use the fucking colonial language around these parts. Calm down.
Interrogation, which is the box. The idea of this torture is that you're confined in an enclosed space, too small for you to stand up and too narrow for you to sit down. You're confined in this stress position for hours while they assault your eardrums with loud noises of crying babies. Now, I initially planned to build the box, but that would have required a bit more effort than just slapping 2 legs on an old door, so I just went down to Bunnings and tested out the size of their storage lockers. But during my research at Bunnings, I didn't really account for a very important feature of the box. I had to get out after my first attempt because we realised we didn't put any air holes in and I would have accidentally suffocated to death in my own YouTube video.
You guys want to hear what he's going to hear? Oh. Look at that. Oh, that's cool.
Is that sexy noises?
Why do you find
baby?
I thought that was someone having sex.
Should be waterboarded. What the fuck is that?
I need a fart. What if I fart in there? Oh, it's going to ruin everything.
Can you see through it at all?
No, I can't see anything. It's actually just quite uncomfortable already.
It was hard even getting into the box. I've never hated a box more in my life.
That is so fucking strange. Oh.
My muscles were already straining and it had barely been a minute. And at that point, Hasan realised he had forgotten a crucial part of his job as a torturer.
Oh, did I max up the audio?
Ah.
I just maxed.
My ears really, really hurt. I assumed they'd just adjust to the noise, but it had the opposite effect. I noticed my body flinch every time the baby screamed. It felt like I'd been in there for hours. Like, I started to think they decided on a whole new prank behind my back where they were just gonna, leave me there forever. My body was on fire and my head was throbbing. Eventually, I started losing it. I thought it would have been easier than it was, but I just started to panic. I wanted to just run.
Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna take you out.
Yeah, I gave him my AirPod Maxes.
Oh, he's hot.
Oh my god, you're so hot.
Oh, fuck. How long was that? I have no idea.
We saw your heart rate started going up dramatically, so we kind of like, oh.
It was weird at the start. I was like, I don't get it. I can handle this. This is so easy. And then the baby was so weird. Like, every time I cried, it like flinched. And it just kept getting like more and more just like, yeah.
We could hear you shaking, right?
Yeah, we thought you were like knocking. When you shook a couple times, we thought you were knocking.
No, I was just like fucking uncontrollable flinching. It was so weird.
That was awful. It's just a horrible, horrible time for all of us, but it was also useless. It bears absolutely no resemblance to the horrors.
Yeah, I was near a spider, and that was very scary.
Victims of the CIA torture program had to go through. Like, I still can't actually comprehend their experience. Like, my brain, it feels like it's stopping me from like imagining it actually happening to me or one of my loved ones. Like, I don't even have the words to describe it. Like, you can't call it psychopathic because, a regular, everyday psychopathic civilian that you find in true crime documentaries doesn't have the capacity to do even 1% of the kind of institutionalized psychopathy and terror of an organization like the CIA. They simply don't have the capacity or the technological know-how to keep their victims alive for 5 years while mutilating them daily. Now, people always make a big deal out of the fact that torture doesn't work, right? Like, but I don't think they're thinking about it properly, right? Like, it doesn't work in terms of, gaining intel to stop terrorism, but it does work if you're trying to do terrorism, right? It's a program designed to instill like a random, arbitrary terror into a population that you want to dominate. Right? You invade the Middle East, and if you pick off random Arabs and expose them to a nightmare beyond human comprehension, their traumatized bodies will serve as a terrifying message to everyone else, right? And the message is, the Americans are here, this isn't your country anymore, and you better shut up while we steal your oil. Like, that's a
Can't wait for CIA agent reviews 3 socialists using CIA torture vid. Oh my God. That's kind of funny, but that could happen. It's like a classic. What is it, like Vanity Fair does that stuff?
purpose of the program. It's just plain terrorism. Now, Obama campaigned on closing Guantanamo Bay and ending the war, which, he obviously did the opposite of that. But to his credit, he did eventually change the enhanced interrogation laws. But I'm not sure where that leaves us, right? Like the US was doing waterboarding long before Bush made it legal. And today, the CIA still operates Guantanamo Bay with the same prisoners trapped there for the past 25 years. And it's illegal to publish any information about these black sites that are still doing something all around the world. Who knows who's in there and what they're doing to them far away from the rule of law? And it's only going to get worse now that this guy's back.
They asked me, what do you think about waterboarding, Mr. Trump? I said, I love it. I love it. I think it's great.
He's sending 30,000 immigrants to Guantanamo Bay, and he's even signed a deal to send regular US citizens to a mega prison in El Salvador, in the same way they set up CIA black sites in foreign countries to avoid domestic laws. I mean, the mega prison is literally called the Terrorism Confinement Center. Like, come on, guys. If that wasn't bad enough, his Secretary of Defense, the leader of the US military, is a goddamn Guantanamo Bay guard, a professional torturer who can't wait to get more people into Guantanamo and relive his glory days.
It's a smart move. It's the perfect place. And I'd say that as someone who's spent a year there with a platoon guarding detainees at the detention facility. So if you have those existing facilities, let's use them. And we will use them.
Yeah, I kind of think we're fucked. Also, go get your DNA tested with MyHeritage. Follow the link in the description or click the QR code and sign up for the free 30-day trial. And also make sure you use the coupon code to get free postage.
Okay, bro, your heart's not in it. Come on. This finally came out and this man didn't even let me know. Wow. Not sure why I thought I would be able to beat waterboarding by breathing out really hard in between breaths to blow the water away. It does not work.